Reader, welcome
Welcome.
to our podcast.
Welcome to Say Smut, a literary podcast for readers and non-readers. That's
That
Hope. Oh,
I'm so sorry.
I acted like I didn't know what I was doing there. Why don't you go ahead, Hope, because it's your line.
That's Sarah, and she loves books.
And that's Hope. She loves talking to me about books and giving me so much grace to start this podcast over because I fucked it up so hard. And now I'm fucking it up again. So
Hey, Hannah Montana once said, "Everybody makes
it's
mistakes.
so true.
Everybody has those days. Everyone knows what
I'm talking about. Yeah, everybody
Don't worry,
gets that way.
everybody
Yeah.
makes mistakes.
So my brain not fully here.
It's
But
been a morning.
it's been a morning. I I locked myself out of my computer so many times and it kept on being like, you're locked out for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. It's like, I know my password. And it turns out that sometimes it just doesn't remember your password. So I was
Oh.
entering it correctly. And I
What?
could go back and be like, by the way, I'm pretty sure this is my password. And anyway, doesn't matter.
Plot twist. I didn't know that was what happened. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of wild. So to get us back on track, we typically do this podcast in the sense of I read a smutty book and I tell the pretty wild plot to Hope, who has not read the book. And that is not the case. We are in our second part of our An Offer from a Gentleman by Julia Quinn, which is season 4 of Bridgerton on Netflix. If you have not listened/watched, depending on the platform, the first part, please go back and watch that. We also have the episodes for The Viscount Who Loved Me and Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. And so if you want to go back to the beginning. Not the beginning, because we kind of just said, fuck Daphne. We don't really care about your book. We were not doing the podcast at that time. So
Did we not even talk about it?
nope.
Who needs it? Not me.
Not
Bye.
me. Goodbye. And you know what? They bailed on us. So those actors bailed on us. So we are bailing on them.
Who quit who? Really?
Who really?
Really?
Oh,
Now we're
gosh.
mad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't want to go in with this energy, but here we are.
Whatever.
So, okay, if we need to catch up to where we're at, because we are at.
And before we even start talking, I feel like this goes without saying, but spoilers?
Yeah.
Spoilers. Don't come at us. Spoilers.
Because really, part 1 of this podcast focused on what aligned pretty well with part 1 of season 4. However, going forward, we are posting this before part 2 comes out, so we do not want to spoil too much stuff if you're not ready for that. I will say we are in some different places than they are in the show. So,
yes,
to remind us where we are at, this is following a pretty tried and true tale of Cinderella. Sophie Beckett is our female main character, and she met this wonderful man, aka Benedict Bridgerton, at a masquerade ball. And then she gets kicked out of her home by her stepmother.
Evil.
2 years go by between the ball and when her and Benedict Bridgerton come into contact again. Benedict, in those 2 years, has been searching for this woman from the ball because he was so smitten with her. And then fast forward, he does meet her. He just doesn't know it. And I do think we talked in the last episode how it's much more realistic. It's been 2 years. Her body's changed. She talks about, being much skinnier because she's not being fed as well.
Right.
Her hair is shorter. When she was at the ball, it was also powdered, so it looked lighter.
Right.
It was very realistic that he would
different time.
Yeah. The thing he has caught on to is that Sophie's voice, because now he's met her as a maid and he's kind of taken her in under his wing. And he's like, her voice is very familiar. And I think that's kind of what we are grasping onto. They do go to my cottage. Instead of having some mortal wound from a broken glass, he does have just a very man cold.
Yeah. Nobody's accidentally stabbed in the book, which I guess is good.
So they spend some time at my cottage and with Mr. and Mrs. Crabtree. And yeah, they do some mackin' at the lake.
Hello, mackin'.
And what ends up happening, though, where we get to our precipice, is that he asks her to be mine. And she's like,
be my cottage.
Be my cottage, please. And she's like, what does that mean? And he's like, I just want you to be mine. And she's like, does that mean your mistress? And he's like, I guess if you want to put a label on it. And so we kind of extended that conversation further than what it goes on in the show, because in the show we have, be my mistress, and that is
Yeah.
cringy and
And
gross.
she's like, I'm beating it, no. And then she leaves.
Yeah. In the book, it's more of like she emphasizes to him, like, what does that mean? What would this look like? And what it looks like is a life I don't want to have.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps bothering her. And she's like, I'm going to leave you. And he's like, no, you're going to come back to London with me and you're going to work for my family in some capacity. Because if you don't, I'm going to accuse you of theft. And then when the police take you in, I will just tell them to put you back into my custody.
And that is abusive, but here we are.
Here we are. And I think it ends, I think I even said it, that it ends with him essentially saying, like, I would rather you hate me and be in my life than like not have you at all. And I was like,
that's your choice.
Interesting.
Hachi machi.
So in the show, we've been back in London for a while and she is working for his mother. But in the book, we are headed back to London. All right. And I also think it's important to note this book happens before Colin and Penelope's book. They swapped this up. And so we do not know who Lady Whistledown is.
No,
Colin and Penelope are not together. That is vital for later on.
They are not. You're about to hear us talk about some stuff that you'll swear you've heard of before.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
really familiar.
It's a scene that we've now seen from like 2 angles, and you will eventually see it from a 3rd angle once we get to Colin's book.
It sucks every time.
Exactly. It's like every time it's a train wreck and you're like, I hate this.
I got to know how Anthony feels about it. I got to know how Benedict feels about it. I have to know how Colin and Penelope feel about it. And
precisely.
It's really giving me 1 million times second to third, fifth billionth embarrassment.
It really is. It really is. It's just like,
Brutal.
I know what's going to happen. I've read this story before. I've watched this movie before, right?
Like,
what is the Taylor Swift lyric? I can't think of right now. Anyway, does not matter. What matters is we are jumping in, Hope.
Yes.
Okay. So they get to Mama Bridgerton's house. And it's important to note because the show has really fumbled this concept, but Anthony and Kate are now living in Bridgerton house.
Yeah.
So
it's like his position and house.
Yes.
Where he lives.
Yes. And I'm at least glad that they're bringing back Anthony for part 2 of season 4.
Yes.
I hope we don't just like slowly start losing our actors every time their season's up. It's just
I know what we've literally just said about the first season of this show, but I would like to keep kind of as many people as I can. Actually, if you want to put Regé John Page, is that his name? If you want to put him back in the show, he's welcome in my heart anytime. I don't want to lose more people than I have to.
Exactly. So Mama Bridgerton, I believe, if I remember correctly, lives at number 5 is what they call it. So she lives in like her own little house in the town now.
Cute. Metropolitan.
And as they're going to walk in, I just think what needs to be really summarized, and I feel like they've done pretty well in the show, but needs to kind of be amplified a little more, is the witty banter and like the antagonizing they both have for each other.
Yeah.
Because in the book, she even is like, you've made me an angry person.
Right.
And I'm not an angry person.
Yeah. So if he's like shorter and quippier because she's so annoyed like all the time. And honestly, me too, a little bit. Like, Benedict, shut up.
But they're like antagonizing each other because as they're walking in, she's like, I should be using the servant's entrance because I am just a servant. And he's like, you're going to walk through the front fucking door. And she is like, no, because I'm a servant, remember? And then he's like, do not piss me off right now. He's like I will still call the constable. Don't tempt me. It's just driving him crazy. And then, so Mama Bridgerton sees them and she gets the whole story. I shouldn't say the whole story. A lot of the story of how they ended up here.
Yes.
And essentially it's like, yeah, I saved your son from this terrible man cold. And
like man cold.
He saved me from some questionable people at this party. And she was like, of course I'll take you in, but also you look familiar. And I am going to spoil this right now. It's because Violet knew her mom, and she
Yeah,
looks very much like her
yeah,
mother.
it's nothing to do with the ball and everything to do with having known her family.
Yes. And Sophie's like, I don't think I've ever interacted with you before. And she's like, it's so odd because you do seem familiar. And like, again, Mama Bridgerton knows everything
She knows everything.
all the time.
She's number one.
She is. So Sophie really wins over Mama B when she's like, Benedict looks exactly like you. And she's like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this day because everybody says all of my children look like my husband, my deceased husband, and none of them look like me out of all 8 of them. Like,
Which
crazy those
and only
genes.
Sophie could tell because Sophie has a very special appreciation for Benedict as a whole person and not just the second of a billion children.
That's so true. Where it's like he is like the softer man in the family. Like he is definitely, and also important to note, the family does not know about his artistic stuff.
No,
Like
they're
in the
gonna.
show, that all that artsy stuff doesn't happen. Whereas like in the book, it's very much like his hobby he secretly does. So I think it's also she very much sees, we'll get into another scene later on where it's very clear she knows him better than even his family
Yeah.
members know him. So there's also this ongoing joke about how ugly Sophie's dresses are. And even Mama B is like, we need to get you new clothes so people don't think I treat you poorly.
Right. In the
With
middle
that
of all of
dress.
these maid wars, I cannot have you here and looking like shambles.
Yeah, I do love that the maid war thing is a real thing in the book too. It's definitely
Yeah.
amplified for the show, but like that's another thing that they pulled over. So Sophie is now going to be a lady's maid for the sisters. And once they're alone, Benedict tells his mother all about the details of how they came to be together, like Sophie and him. And Mama Bridgerton is like, not that like she isn't a good person. I'm not trying to like say she's shady, but also she's like way too educated to be who
like,
you say she is.
Who was like, this is fishy because she speaks incredibly well. Just like even on first interaction, and we'll get into more reasons she's suspicious later, but like already has like really impeccable speech and conducts herself in a way that doesn't make sense for what she said her background is.
And Sophie's excuse for this is like, oh, I got to sit in on lessons when I was younger, you know. And Mama B is like, actually, like, sure, that might work for some of the things, but she's so well advanced in like French and like Latin and all these things. Like, there's no way she'd be that, you know, crazy. So already Mama B has her cork board out with the strings and is like, how does she fall into a line here? You know, and
She's got
like,
clues and hints and she's making connections.
yes. So she was like, either she was a noble woman who has been cast out for having an illegitimate child, or she was an illegitimate child.
Right.
And by this point, Benedict has also come to some of these same conclusions to a degree, but has not had them fully confirmed. So the sussing out is happening.
Yes.
Mama B goes into full investigator mode and seeks out Sophie, like immediately after this conversation, like goes to Sophie and is like, so tell me about yourself. And around this time, also Benedict goes and talks to Eloise and is like, Eloise could get answers out of her too. So then Eloise enters conversation at some point and is like, so tell me about yourself.
Hey, yeah, ever the investigator, like, so.
Yeah. And I mean, what ends up happening are these really sweet scenes of like, these women are just also interested in this other woman who's never had anyone interested in her, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, this is what a family looks like. Like, this is what they're like, you know? So on Sophie's first full day working at number 5, Benedict is an absolute menace.
Everywhere.
He is around every corner. He's
like
behind every door.
Jump scare on jump scare. Turn around. Benedict is there. Like everywhere.
No, and it's like he's doing it to antagonize her. He has no reason to be at his mom's house all day like
at
this.
all. Actually, he has his own place,
literally down the street, like 3 doors down. It's so weird. Okay, in a very heated conversation, he says that she has all these, like, he kind of snaps. They're out in the garden and he kind of snaps and is like, you have all these secrets that are clearly eating you alive. Like, just tell me who you are and like what is going on here. And it's very hard for him too, because like he hates that she's at Bridgerton house, but not with him. He's like,
Right.
I hate going to bed every night and like knowing that you're in my mother's house and you're not under my roof and blah, 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 blah. And it
Right.
has this kind of territorial moment. And then what's the line that he says? Hope.
My bookmarked one.
Yes, your bookmarked one.
I have it here on page 262, if you were curious. I burned for you, he said, his lips touching her ear. Every night I lie in bed thinking of you, wondering why the hell you're with my mother of all people and not with me. He burns for her.
So
He
that's,
does.
yes, that was his line. And so, Reggae John Page, thank you for taking that from him.
It was
and then
hot. I
it,
like credit where it's due.
yeah, but also like then we got like this half-baked one on the show in the last episode right before the Be My Mistress. It was kind of like a half-baked, you're the bane of my existence and the
Yeah,
object
yeah,
of all my
well, it's
desire.
just like you can't really, he can't say his own line because they gave that away. And
Mhm.
like the second most iconic speech about being frustratingly attracted to someone has happened already. So you just kind of got to like do your best.
Yeah, I just feel like it was definitely a repackaged. It felt too similar to the whole
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like,
about you constantly and
you're
I hate
annoying
it.
and I can't live without you. Fuck you.
Yeah, I was like, really, writers? We couldn't. Anyway,
No. It was like if you asked Chat GPT to summarize one of those speeches, and that was the speech.
that was the result. It's in this moment that he kisses her and she actually kisses him back. And he's
Mhm.
surprised how easily she kind of caves. And it reassures him that, like, maybe I could wear her down over the course of time and just convince her to be my mistress. Like,
Which, red flag, but for Benedict is kind of a good sign.
this man is so Delulu of like, I'm going to make her my mistress. It's such a man's audacity of like,
Yes.
this will work in my favor. It always works out for me because I'm a rich, entitled man.
Right.
What is this? Sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to change my screen, and it's changed both of our screens.
That's funny.
That's on
Okay.
me.
Well, add a little excitement in here
Spice
because
it up.
we're going to jump into a different funny scene that I wanted to call out, which is Sophie takes tea with the Bridgertons. And I think they've integrated this into the show without saying it. But
Mhm.
the idea is that, like, if the Bridgertons are not taking tea with any outside company, like Sophie is welcome to join them for company.
Yes.
and so Sophie has been like, okay, but I feel like I need to be working 24/7. So
I gotta bring my clothes to repair and my needles and
yeah,
stuff.
my mending, I'll bring my
My
mending. And
mending.
every time they're like, you don't have to. And she's like, yes, I do. I constantly have to be working. So she's doing her mending. And every time somebody says Benedict's name, she pricks her finger and is like,
Just-
ow.
Yeah, like visibly, like ow, every time, super hard.
And everybody's like, get a fucking thimble.
Yeah, they're like,
dude.
what is wrong
I
with you?
know,
Are
right?
you good? Are you bleeding all over our clothes? Are you fine?
Literally.
What's happening? They are. I love. They're like, get a thimble.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what's
They're like, and then at one point he arrives. He arrives
of
in
course
the
he does.
sitting room, and Sophie's like, "I'm gonna go out and buy a thimble right now." Like, girl,
Yeah,
it's
and
painfully
then
obvious.
can't even execute that right because then does leave to go buy a thimble, and I think Benedict is like, don't you have to go upstairs to get money? from
Yeah,
your
and she's
room?"
like, I have coins in my skirts.
Yeah,
and I'm
whatever.
gonna
And she does not.
and she leaves out the front door. Okay. And that was also a moment of like, she shouldn't have done that because she's a servant, obviously. But she's like having like this hysteric moment and she
Complete meltdown.
leaves out the front door only to hear familiar voices and realizes a vital piece of information that she conveniently forgot, that when she was in the country, she got a rare copy of Lady Whistledown in the Country and saw that the new lord took over her stepmother's estate. So he essentially came in and kicked them out of the estate home. And her stepmother and stepfamily moved in next door to the Bridgertons. She conveniently forgot that until this exact moment.
To be fair, she's probably bleeding out from the fingers at this point, so it's hard to keep all the details of the neighborhood straight.
She's like lightheaded and like passing out,
a little woozy.
But I'm like, girl, I would have had that stacked in my memory.
I would have, I don't know. I think I would have caved and told Benedict everything purely because you cannot take me to be her next door neighbor. You cannot. That's
no,
awful.
exactly. Like, I don't know. So anyway, so when she gets outside, she hears these voices and she realizes it's her step siblings.
Mhm.
And thankfully, she like kind of discreetly hides, but to watch the new dynamic. And it's very clear that now that they are not bullying her the way they used to, they are now bullying Posey.
Yeah, Posy's getting it. It's awful.
Yeah. And Posey actually spots Sophie in this moment, but Sophie's like, please keep this a secret. Like, you know, gives the hand gestures.
Yeah.
And Posey gives like a nod that's like, yeah, of course I will keep your secret. So Benedict comes down to find Sophie against the side of the house, like in an absolute panic.
Yeah,
And
just
he's like,
melting down.
yeah. And he's like, don't worry. I live like 5 doors down. Why don't you come sit in my sitting room?
Mm-hmm.
Not inside the house that you currently live. That's right here.
No, come conveniently to my house.
Come to my house. Come over. So they rest in the sitting room and they're talking about family and about him being the second son and about how she'd read about him and Lady Whistledown for years. And this conversation is almost a complete mirror to the one that they had the night of the ball.
Yeah.
And it is just so reflectant that I was like, Benedict, it's so clear what's happening right now.
Come on.
It is so obvious.
Spoiler alert, he's not going to figure it out right now, but you want him to so bad.
But what he does figure out is that he is in love with her, not because it's convenient and not because she's just around, but because who they are to each other.
Yeah.
And the conversations they can have. And I was like,
about how he's more than just number 2.
He's more than just a good old shit. He's just he's just Benedict.
He's Benedict.
And then they decide to get down and dirty right there.
They do it.
I will say they have, it's not anything crazy exciting. They have the classic, she's a virgin, he's not, and he's going to show her all the dirty things. And he's like asking her, like, do you like this? Do you like this?
Like, I bet you haven't even imagined this. And he's just kind of touching her. It's not like,
yeah, it's not like touching her clavicle area.
Not like crazy reverse cowgirl.
No.
Like you haven't imagined a man might be between your legs a little bit.
Yeah. And then at one point, he very much stops and is like, are you sure you want to do this? Are we sure? And like asks for consent.
You got to say no right now.
Yeah.
Not
and
after or later, like I got to have the no right now.
And it's so funny because then she internally is like, that's so nice that he took the time to stop and ask me. And I'm like, girl.
The bar is in hell. The bar is in hell. Even back then.
The bar
and now,
is in flames.
What bar?
Oh my gosh.
What bar?
Anyway, after some very vanilla sex on a couch, she asks, is it always like this? And he shakes his head and she's like, I didn't think so. And
they have a magical time, to clarify. Is it always the most magical love you've ever had in your whole life?
I'm not going to lie. I do kind of like this little mini trope of like after they have sex for the first time or after they kiss for the first time being like, that's not normal. Like,
yeah, that's
to
fun.
be like, it's not. And again, another thing I want to emphasize different in the book, he's not as much of like a sexual rake as they play him off in the show to be. Like, yeah, he's a very normal, like, man.
I don't think they even really do it that well in the show, to be perfectly honest with you. But they don't. It's not really like that at all in the book.
Yeah, I feel like they've really amplified this image of him in the show of like, oh, he's super sexual and he goes out and has these threesomes and he's doing all these like crazy orgies. And like in the book, it's like, no, he's just a man of that era that has had, you know, some liaisons, but it's not
he's
like
doing it like a regular amount.
Yeah, it's not anything an absurd amount. He's not a rake per se.
It's hard to try and be like Benedict is a rake when we just had Anthony.
Oh,
as acts way more a rake.
Yes.
So
yes,
like,
absolutely.
This isn't really the same.
So they get done, and when they're done, he's like gets his clothes on. And he's like, "So I'll send somebody over to get your things for you."
Yeah,
and she's
like, "Yes, we did it."
Like, actually, I want my things to stay exactly where they are.
Please don't even touch my things. Actually.
And then she calls, like, he is so giddy in this moment of like, I've got her. It's done. Mission accomplished. And she's like, it was so cherished. And it's kind of how she viewed the night of the ball, where she was like, that
Yeah.
kiss at the ball is something I will remember for the rest of my life because I don't see myself ever having an opportunity elsewhere.
Yes.
But she's like, that's also how she felt about the sex.
Yeah.
But then she calls it a lapse in judgment,
Which
and
is not the right words, I would say. So
that definitely upset him, and he starts calling her out. And she's like, again, I've hurt his pride. And he's like, you have rejected me over and over and over again. Like, I don't know how many more times I can handle this rejection from you. And at one point, he's like, I don't understand why you're so against this, because it's, quote, nothing more than what you've already done. Which is like,
Benedict.
okay, just call her a whore. Why don't you?
Yeah,
like,
geez, I don't know what you thought that was gonna accomplish for this conversation, but it wasn't anything positive.
like, girl, I just need you to spread your legs for me. Like, what do
It's
you
also like
what?
What? It's obviously of no consequence to me because I'll just go and get married. Isn't it just fine? Like,
Oh my gosh. And
bro, is it just fine that it's cool for me to in your low station? I just won't even really care about that much. He just like really doesn't take into
yeah.
consideration any of the stuff that she says to validate why she does not want to be his mistress.
And I think this series has done a really good job, like the whole book series has done a really good job at clocking the Bridgerton men for being entitled assholes constantly.
They
Because
are
like
frequently that way.
because like, okay, you have Sophie, who's in a position where she is obviously a maid. You
Mhm.
have Kate, who is essentially a spinster at that
Yeah.
point. You have Penelope, who does not have the social clout and they have all been like, you entitled asshole, do you not understand the social implications that you are putting us under? And
Right.
they just think, well, for Benedict, just be my mistress. It'll be fine.
It'll just
Have my illegitimate child. It'll be okay.
It like doesn't take into account what it would mean for Sophie to have that be her life, and also like it's just like, I mean, obviously there's nothing better than being my mistress. It's like really conceited too.
And it's like, these are the men who are like, I want my cake and to eat it too. And like, to
Yeah.
his point, he is also, okay, you have amplified the idea that, okay, I am a second son. There are a million other siblings I have in this world who can carry on the tradition and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay, fine. So why do you have to get married? You're essentially asking her to commit to you because she has nothing better going on and she can
Right.
have your illegitimate children. And you're going to and you keep on saying, well, it's my duty to get married. You have all these other siblings who can carry on the
Yeah, it was
Bridgerton
like, you're like,
name.
I've been nice about it up to this point, but now I'm gonna use it against you. You're number 2, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, why don't you say to her, if you really feel this way and like that's really where you want to go down, then say, hey, I won't take a wife and we will be committed to each other exclusively for the rest of our lives. I will own every single child that we bring into this world, like whatever. But he can't say that. And I'm like, it's because you're holding out hope for the fucking lady in silver.
Yeah, who would be a better class fit for you?
In your mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because in your mind she's definitely of society, because otherwise she wouldn't have been at the ball.
Yeah, no, fuck you, dude. Sorry. I get like to this point in
He's
every
a big
fucking
number
Bridgerton
2.
book. In every fucking Bridgerton book, I'm like, fuck the Bridgerton boys. I hate you guys.
Their
And
mother
then-
is perfect and the daughters are hilarious, but these boys,
these
can't.
men, man-childs. Okay.
Man-childs. Uh-oh.
My God. Okay. So he starts begging and she yells at him, I won't have an illegitimate child. And she's like actively saying, I pray I'm not pregnant. Like, I pray that this did not end in a pregnancy.
It's like, God forbid we haven't already had said illegitimate child.
Yes. And explains that if it is her love for her hypothetical child, that she will not put her child through what she went through. Like, and I think it was a really beautiful way of her saying, like, because at one point he's like saying, like, why don't you want to have a kid with me? And like, she's like, because I know what I went through.
Lived experience, bro.
Yeah, I know. I know
the
that if
second
I
you
had a
get
child,
married-
I love them so deeply, I wouldn't want this for them, you know?
If I croak and then you get remarried, what if that lady's really mean to our child?
And has
an endless cycle of Cinderella.
And has a really fucking weird kid who just doesn't want to speak up, and another fucking narcissistic kid, and then
Who's
she
also
has
just flat evil.
just evil. Okay, as much as it pains him, he doesn't press her further, and like she leaves. A while later, Sophie's at tea with the Bridgerton girls, and they're all joking about how Benedict really isn't good at any like school subjects to help
like
Hyacinth with.
shitting
Like,
on Benedict, kind of.
yeah. And this like grates on Sophie. It's like that thing where you don't know how deep you're like cutting into somebody's agitation until like they snap a little bit.
Right.
And so she's like interrupts it, the conversation, and she's obviously soft spoken. And so they don't expect it from her when she's like, art. He's good at art.
He's like really good at art. They also, since they don't know about him, they're like, what?
Yeah. The way the room goes completely silent. And then like every eye turns to Sophie and is like, interesting.
How and why do you know that?
And what would you know about the subject? By the way, it is so clear we have not gotten this from Mama Bridgerton's point of view, but she has absolutely clocked these two.
She knows they're in love. She's known like the whole, like pretty much since they showed up.
Yeah.
She's just known the whole time.
And the way she's like, that is so sweet, Sophie.
I
That's
hope
so
I
nice
also
that you know
get
that.
to learn that my son does art if he will show me one day.
Yeah, I hope he shows me one of his paintings and like doesn't ask any further questions. Okay, so Penelope then joins this exact tea that we're talking about.
And this is like the worst thing that could have probably happened to Sophie, maybe.
No, it is literally
so stressful.
The way I forgot about this scene until I reread it. The way she fucking clocks Sophie the moment she lays eyes on her.
I absolutely have seen you before. And like, of course we don't know that Penelope, like Sarah and I know that Penelope is Lady Whistledown. So like, we also know that she has a super heightened awareness and like sees stuff at balls all the time. But just, like, even without that, she just immediately is like, I think I've seen you before.
And then she doesn't drop it. She is a dog with a bone. She was like, no, like and her eyes are just boring into Sophie. She's like, I need to get out of this room so this woman stops staring at me.
Fuck. Like, she can hear my thoughts. Fuck.
Yeah. Because she essentially remembers that her and Penelope crossed paths very briefly at the Bridgerton masquerade years ago. Yeah. And Penelope is just so keen. She like, so as like, is like, I recognize you. There is not, and you know, when you're doing that mental math of like, okay, given what I know about you, what's a situation in which we would have seen each other together? Like the equations are passing over her face.
Where did I come across this face in my day-to-day in the past several years?
Yes.
Calculation.
I literally wrote down, it's those Lady Whistledown eyes.
Yeah.
So then we get the scene. Then we get the heinous scene that overlaps with Anthony and Colin's books. Okay, so while this tea is going on, whatever. So Colin and Anthony and Benedict all meet up like in the Bridgerton foyer, or like
outside,
right outside,
or like near the. Colin's just getting back from being wherever he goes.
Yes, and Colin is like, I will never marry Penelope Featherington. Ever.
You've seen it from the wide angle. Here is the close-up version, and later we'll get like kind of a up from the corner shot.
Yeah.
An aerial view of us really talking about how I absolutely will not marry that heinous woman who is my closest friend, Penelope.
And Penelope overhears this and she handles it like a fucking champ.
Mm-hmm.
And she walks up to the brothers and he was like, oh my gosh, Penelope, I'm so sorry. You weren't meant to hear that. And she was like, I don't know why you think I would be hurt by that. I'm not going to marry Benedict. And you don't see, and Benedict, are you upset about that? And Benedict is like, no. And then
like, see, me neither.
See, me neither. I'm not upset at all. And then Anthony, being the gentleman he is, because now he's a reformed rake, holds out his arm and is like, I'll walk you home, Penelope. And it just a clusterfuck of things.
Idiot brother.
Literally. So anyway, if you want to reread that scene in 5 different points of view, please go check out our other episodes.
I'm going to write my own book, which is this scene, but from the view of a bug on a nearby stick.
Literally. Or like the footman who is awkwardly standing right next to like the carriage that just let like one of them out.
Other lady or the other house next door to Lady Bridgerton's house has the window cracked open, and you can just kind of hear voices floating in from the open window.
Precisely. Okay, so Benedict also has this conversation with Mama B about potentially being in love again. Because
again.
If you recall, we had a conversation at the very fucking beginning of this book where Mama B was like, no matter who you marry, I just want you to be in love.
I felt crazy because then when I saw them have this conversation again, I was like, I could swear on my life that this happened in the front half of the book and it hasn't happened yet in the show. And on the first half of our coverage of this, I was like, I'm waiting for this conversation to come up in the show on the back half. And I just wasn't expecting it to come up again in the back half of the book. So I was like, I no longer know where this conversation has and has not happened.
They have dug this point in so extensively by this point. And okay, so
it makes the whole conflict infuriating because it was resolved in like the first couple chapters of the book. Crazy.
She is like, it would be very hard because it's so clear at this point that they are specifically talking about Sophie, right?
Yeah.
Like without saying Sophie's name, they're like, you know, it would be hard for you to be in love with somebody not of this class, but I still love and support you. And like, they kind of talk, like there's this hypothetical that both Sophie and Benedict have like floated independently of each other of like, we could just run away to the country and not have to deal with society.
You basically already did this. And it was great.
Yeah. And she prefers the country. I don't know if he has like a certain preference. I mean, obviously he has My Cottage, but it's not been established that like, oh, I need to be in the countryside, you know? It's also during this conversation that Benedict realizes how deep the love between his mom and dad was. And I thought this was very, very sweet. And because it shows that it's not just like this rainbows and unicorn thing. It was like this very chosen, like through the ups and the downs, we chose each other. Yeah. And he realizes that's exactly how deeply he feels for Sophie. Like, so deep that he would, you know, blackmail her into going back to London with him.
It's not completely normal behavior kind of way.
And
blackmail kind of way.
It's in this moment he also is like, I think the woman from the ball was just a dream, and it doesn't compare to the depth that I feel for Sophie and the realness of what we have. And I'm like, yes, okay, I mean, great.
That is inherently correct because you've made a whole fantasy about a person whose name you didn't even know, and it's been several years. So that it literally isn't a real person you're thinking about.
Yes. So at the same time this is happening, the Bridgerton's cousins, who are children, and if you ever want to go read about the cousins' parents, there is a like prior generation series that is actually very good and very funny. Circumstantially, like one of them ends up on a pirate boat or a pirate ship. Like one of them gets in this really crazy scandal and she's like not the hottest girl of the town. And like, anyway, you should definitely go back and read them. It's so good. But at the same time, Bridgerton cousins are in town and Hyacinth is like, Sophie, will you help me, you know, take care of the cousins? And she's like, yes, I love children. I'll absolutely go and hang out in the nursery.
Yeah. Hyacinth's like, they'll kill me. I'll be so tired. I can't do this by myself.
I couldn't possibly.
Please help me. And like, at first that does seem dramatic, but it is clear that it's not at all because then Sophie's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Sophie's like, oh my God, these kids have so much energy.
I'm so tired.
It is not said verbatim, but it is very clear that Eloise and Mama B have planned some things because I think they have clocked that, and I know how many times I've said clocked in this episode. Take a shot every single time I say it.
Do it.
They have completely figured out that Sophie is likely the woman from the ball, and they are trying to set up Sophie in a situation for Benedict to see her like that.
This is so great. It is just so crazy. So otherwise happened on accident.
Mama B is like kind of holding, like trying to get him to like go upstairs, maybe see the cousins. And then Eloise is like, we should play, you know, blind man's bluff or whatever, you know, they're talking. And Eloise is like, Sophie, why don't you put on the blindfold? Like it is so...
Why don't we
so propped up?
Why don't we conveniently wrap several scarves around the top half of your face?
Yeah. So she has these scarves around her eyes because they're going to play blind man's bluff. And
Which is like Margot Polo.
yeah. And so she's playing with these kids. Benedict conveniently gets upstairs and sees Sophie's lower half of her face.
It is both funny and infuriating that the only way he could have possibly figured this out is by her literally having the top half of her face covered.
And the way he is so pissed when he finds this out.
He's
and
mad.
It's hilarious because the moment that he processes this and is like, everybody get out of this fucking room. Eloise is like, all right, everybody, let's go. They need to
evacuate the dance floor right now.
And Eloise, being as curious as she is, I'm like, girl, if you didn't know what was going on, you'd be like, why? You know, you'd be up in every.
What's going on?
I firmly believe Eloise and Mama B set this whole shit up because they've been shady during this whole process. And I think they were like, okay, we need Benedict to see it for himself.
Yeah, man can't do the addition himself and get the answer. We gotta make 2 + 2 = 4 for this guy.
Exactly. So after they clear out of the room, he kind of lays into Sophie. It's in this moment that she realizes she doesn't even know why she kept it a secret this long.
Yeah, to be fair,
I have no clue why we kept doing this.
He's like, please justify it. She's like, honestly, IDK anymore. Also, she cannot get the scarves off of her head for like a while.
Yeah. She's like, I can't get the knot.
Like, can you please help me? And he's like, no. He just doesn't.
So she also is like, maybe I didn't tell you because I was kind of butthurt that you didn't recognize me after all that time.
I think is valid because come on, man.
Yeah. And also, I think I've used the class difference between us to protect my heart. And he starts repeating over and over again, like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And she keeps on being like, I'm Sophie. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, fine. I am the Earl of Penwood and his lady's maid's bastard child. And like
a biblo, as it were.
Yes. A biblo. Our favorite word.
My number one favorite word, biblo.
So he's mainly mad that she kept it a secret all this time, and he feels like he's a fool for not seeing it. And for him, like, it felt like everybody knew and he didn't, right?
Yeah.
And so now he sees her and he's like, I can't be around you. And he leaves the nursery.
Yeah, he gets so mad.
Things move very quickly, okay?
Yes.
From here on out. Your
fucking seatbelts for a plot roller coaster.
Yeah. So Sophie immediately goes to Mama B and is like, I'm resigning. And Mama B's like, is it because of Benedict? She's like, I did this whole plan to get you guys together.
Like, I see the plan didn't work out like I thought it might. Shit.
And Sophie's like, why didn't you fire me if you knew I was like in love with your son? And Mama B was like, I don't know. I like you. And then
like, Sophie, I guess I should have, but I didn't.
And Sophie was like emo because she's like, no one's really liked her. Like, no one has taken her in the way that Mama B has. Right, so she's like, quote, you are the sort of woman I would like for my son, which is just like, stab me in the heart, tear it out, you know.
It's gone.
And she says, your background makes this nearly impossible for you to be with Benedict. And even though Violet is still pulling for her son to have this relationship, she's also a realist. Like, she's like, I want to honor the fact that clearly Sophie is not trying to like gold dig with my son, and she's being realistic about what this would look like.
Right. Like,
and I want to honor that.
It's not necessarily Mama Bridgerton's motivation or like place to be convincing Sophie to try and be in a relationship with her son. She knows like what the ramifications of that would maybe look like and is sad, but like understands.
An investigator, Violet, then drops that the fact that Sophie's accent is impeccable and that it never sat right for her was what kind of gave her away.
Yeah.
Because she was like, even if you got an education as a servant from like the house family, the lessons in which you would have started at 6 at the earliest, and your speech patterns were well embedded by then.
Yeah,
and
like the foundations of your speech are so high class that I could clock you on your shit being a total lie.
And Sophie's like, okay, damn, you're right. All right, fair enough.
You're right. I do speak Latin under my breath sometimes when Hyacinth is annoying. I'm so sorry. You totally clocked me.
You got that. You got that, girl. So Lady Bridgerton sadly is ready to let her go, but she's like,
Yeah.
at least let me give you some money and give you a carriage. And Sophie at first resists, and then she's like, sure, fine. And so she's like, okay, I am not going to say goodbye to the girls or anybody else in the house
Right. You're like,
because
it's too
I
sad.
can't. Yeah. And so Violet's like, okay, I'm going to go grab your money quick. And Sophie's like, great, I'm going to go step outside. And she steps outside when she runs into her fucking stepmom.
Yeah, literally at the worst possible moment when Araminta's like, ah! And sees her and immediately freaks the fuck out. Just like basically runs into her.
Exactly. And then she starts yelling for police. Sorry, the stepmom starts yelling for police to arrest Sophie as a thief because, and if you remember, she stole those shoe clips, which by the way turned out to be fake.
They
weren't even worth.
Bitch.
Yeah, they were
shoe
paste.
clips.
And so she knows that it makes her look guilty, but she does start running. And some guy tackles Sophie to the ground.
Yeah,
and
which
apparently
fuck that guy, by the way.
yeah. Apparently the stepmom's been looking for Sophie ever since Posey accidentally let it slip that Sophie was around.
Yeah.
Sad. Sad.
And she's like, Posey, come on.
Come on, Posey, girl. We really need to work on
all
your
like
silence.
that. We're all like, come on, Posey.
So Violet doesn't come out in time, and Sophie is arrested and taken away. And it was really sad because at one point Sophie was like, I don't know what would be worse, like the Bridgerton seeing me like this, or like having them, or like going to jail and like not having them step in, or what,
All this is pretty much the worst thing I can imagine, actually.
Yeah. Now we're going to cut to where Benedict is fencing with Colin and calls literally Colin, who literally can't see that his best friend is in love with him and he's in love with his best friend, calls him out for being in love with a maid and is like, just marry her. What's the worst that can happen?
Self-realization, but the ability to cold clock each other's bullshit is really interesting.
It is. And Benedict reveals this whole story to his brother about Sophie being the woman from the ball and yada, yada. And he needs to figure out what to do. And he's like, actually, we could live in this country, because Sophie wouldn't be accepted by society. And that doesn't actually sound too bad at all. And maybe actually I should go back and apologize.
You don't even like it here, bro. What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
You've never even liked it here.
Colin's like, wow, these sound like a lot of self-made problems. You should go fix that. So Benedict goes back to his mom's house and hears from his mom how she thinks like that she's left town, right?
Yeah, she's like, by the way, Sophie's gone.
And
just by the way.
Yeah, just by the way.
Like, I was going to try and get her a carriage and she didn't even wait. That's how upset she was and she had to leave.
Yeah, and Hyacinth burst into the room with a copy of Lady Whistledown, which essentially reveals that Sophie was arrested in front of the house. And then Benedict and Mama B lock the fuck in.
And they're like, I'm going to jail to get Sophie. And then the Benedict's like, I'm also going. And Hyacinth's like, me three.
And they're like, not you though, girl.
We're all going.
So they're like, we've got to go get our girl out of jail, which was a very Avengers fun moment.
Yeah, great.
Sophie is in jail and her stepmom comes to visit just to rub it the fuck in.
Just to be a total bitch.
And she's like, it sucks that you stole those shoe clips in my wedding ring. And Sophie's like, actually, I didn't take the wedding ring, but like no one would believe me over you.
Yeah, she's like, they don't know that you didn't do that. It's just not on my finger.
No. Her stepmom is like, you won't die, but like they will like relocate you to Australia. And Sophie's like,
unfortunately, they're not going to hang you.
Sad. But Sophie's like, why do you hate me? And her stepmom's like, because he loved you. And I'm like, girl,
not really, actually.
Yeah, Sophie's like, he actually really didn't love me. He didn't really spend any time with me or speak to me. And stepmama's like, he clothed and fed you. And she's like, actually, that was a bare minimum.
Like, your definition of what love is and mine are different.
Very different. And she realizes that he had no problem. So one of the main pain points for stepmother, which I think is what they're going to try and make redemptive in the show, is that she feels bad about the fact that she couldn't mother a child with him. She couldn't parent a child.
An heir with him before he passed away.
He had no problem producing an heir with somebody else. So then it feels like it's her fault, that like they couldn't get pregnant.
And also she's like mad about it from like a stuck-up class perspective. Like it's so messed up that you could get a pregnant maid and I can't have your heir and I'm superior and awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of a deal.
And even in this kind of soft moment where she kind of realizes where this pain is coming from for her stepmom continues to be a bitch. She just is like, I don't give a fuck. This is not a redemptive arc for me, honey.
I still hate you. I will never not fucking hate you.
Benedict and Mama B come bursting into the jail, and Benedict kisses Sophie through the bars of the cell in front of stepmom, who is shooketh.
Yeah, truly shooketh.
And I did put in parentheses, kind of ironic after his blackmail to get her arrested.
Correct. Yeah. I thought I heard this plot from somewhere, but I wasn't expecting it from Araminta.
Not Araminta. The magistrate and the warden also come in. I feel like this is where it turns into kind of like a 1960s comedy of like people running into the room. Yeah, it's
like another person be like, what's going on?
What's going on? Now let's re-explain the story.
That's not even all the people that are about to show up.
And Benedict says to the magistrate and warden, like, this woman has accused my fiance of theft. And like, everybody's just is like, what?
You're what?
I think we're all stuck on the wrong thing here. And the authorities are like, oh no, not the Viscount's brother's fiance.
Oh no, not number 2.
Not number 2's fiance. And Lady B is just standing there nodding. She's like, what he said, copy and paste everything. Like, yeah, go son, go.
Hype woman.
Yes. And so stepmom is like, you can't marry her, and then calls her a whore, which Benedict nearly chokes her out for. I was like,
it like gets a little on woman violent in a way that I don't condone.
Yeah, at one point he's like, don't make me hit you, and then reluctantly releases her.
He kind of grabs her by the throat in a way that's super not okay, but
I mean, he literally says, I'm gonna hit you, and then he's like, never mind. So if you need a little equation, because we did this back in The Viscount Who Loved Me, we talked about the class sections of like, where does a Viscount stand versus a Duke versus like, okay. So if you need to understand where the social ranks are in this room, we have stepmom is a countess, and she technically outranks Violet and Benedict. Even though they are related to a Viscount, they are not the Viscount. She is the countess. So Violet is no longer, Viscountess.
Right. Yeah, she's not like the highest ranking official there.
But they essentially look at it as one countess minus 2 likable Bridgertons in the room. Overall, they're more likable than she is.
Yeah, she has negative karma points.
Yeah, exactly. So
Lady Bridgerton is like, I am more popular than you.
So literally the magistrate is trying to run this equation of like, who do I piss off in this situation?
And the answer is I never want to piss off hot mommy Bridgerton. I never want to.
I want to be the tea that I want her to be the tea I'm having.
I respect that tea, and I will not go against her.
No. By this point, they've established that Sophie didn't take the wedding ring, but she did take the shoe clips. So the magistrate is thinking, well, technically there's still a theft.
Oh, but because Poppy has shown up.
Well, Posey has come
not
out of nowhere to be like, no, girl, your ring is actually at home. I've seen it.
Yeah, she's like, it's not in my jewelry box. And Posey's like, it's in your other jewelry box that you think is a secret, but is not.
And then Posey
just kind of becomes pale.
Yeah. And then Posey is standing there and they're still talking about the shoe clips. And Posey's like, I took the shoe clips. Arrest me. Put me in the cell. She becomes really dramatic.
It was me the whole time.
Put me in. She puts out her wrists and is like, lock me up.
Throw away the key.
And then Violet Bridgerton is like, okay, you know what? No matter what happens, you need to release my future daughter-in-law. And so Sophie gets out of the actual jail cell. And Sophie gets out and she's going to reunite with Benedict. But the magistrate is like, hold on. No. We still need to figure out who we are charging. And Posey is like, put me in the cell. I did.
It's just like, can't stop. Self-sacrificing in the background. Like, man, let me up. I'm a hardened criminal.
And then Sophie's like, girl, you do not want to be in there. There are rats in there. And she immediately cuts the ad. She's like, never mind.
No, never mind. Actually, nobody did it.
So the magistrate asks for a full story, and Sophie explains how she's the bastard of her and like her whole family history and like all that. And when she gets to the part where she explains how her life was paid for until she was 20 due to that will way back at the beginning, and how there was nothing left, Posey comes in with another bombshell. I mean, it's like the WWE where it's like another time. It just like elbows down on, or it's so crazy. So she's like, that's a lie. He left her a dowry.
And it is at this moment that I would like to open up my notes app. This is why, Sarah, I've been holding my phone in my hand and read the very first note I wrote following reading the prelude, which was, surprise, it's just Cinderella and the evil stepmom is going to withhold the details of Sophie's dowry from her. And then at some point while being involved with Benedict, Sophie is going to be like, oh my God, we can't be together. I don't have a dowry. But then either a maid or Poppy will find out. And I keep saying Poppy. I mean Posey. We'll find out and save the day probably. And I was mostly right.
You are mostly right. I mean, they did
right.
When you know the story of Cinderella and then they amplify this idea of, oh, you know, she had this will issue.
You had to find a new glass slipper reveal because it wasn't going to be like the glove. It's not important in this moment that she was the lady in silver as much as it's important that, she had a dowry the whole time. So who's been stealing from whomst?
Exactly. So Posey explains that she read a copy of the will last year. And this is groundbreaking because Sophie was like, I never thought he cared enough. And this also like seconds the thought that he did care about her to a degree. He wanted her to be taken care of.
It really fundamentally shifts all of these ideas she'd had about how much her dad really cared about her at all.
And the magistrate is like, where's that dowry now? Stepmom's real quiet. And Violet is like, well, embezzling a dowry does seem very illegal. Maybe you should be the one in the jail cell.
I've got a solicitor and he doesn't work far from here.
Exactly. And the magistrate is like, well, I'm not going to arrest the countess, but I am going to kick all of you out. You guys have spent enough time busying my day. Violet goes up to the decision. Violet goes up to the countess and is like, Sophie is going to marry my son. And you will tell everybody that she is the late Penwood's daughter. And stepmom was like, absolutely not. And Violet was like, fine, then my lawyers will start poking around for that diary since like, Benedict will be entitled to it once they get married.
Yeah, my solicitor is up the fucking street and he'll be right with you.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
That's when stepmommy is like, okay, but I'm not going to go out of my way to tell people. Like, if people ask, I'll tell them who, you know, Sophie is, but I'm not going to like go around blaring the news. Okay. Before dipping, Violet looks at Posey and is like, do you want to come visit us for a while?
Yeah,
we can go to Kent.
You're a full adult, right? So you absolutely don't need your mom's permission to do jack shit. Do you want to come hang out and have lots of fun at my house?
And Posey is like, oh my gosh, yes, please. And the countess is pissed. So then the stepmom starts going off about how pathetic her own daughter is. And Sophie, she winds that fist up.
If you thought
she
a woman
punches her.
If you thought a woman wasn't getting hit in this book, you were wrong.
It's woman on woman crime. She is punching her stepmom in the face.
WPW, women punching women.
Yeah, and she says that's for not loving your daughters equally.
Yeah, it's not even for her own poor treatment. It is specifically for not loving her youngest daughter in the same way she loved her eldest. And deserved.
It becomes clear that Posey is now a Bridgerton child permanently.
Just like essentially adopted, yeah.
Yeah. And Benedict says to Violet, you're the best mom ever. Benedict takes Sophie back to his home and to talk. And Mama B was like, bring that girl back to my house within the hour. Bring that girl back. She cannot stay with you.
But
several
hours later.
So he gives this great declaration of love.
Mm-hmm.
He apologizes for asking her to be his mistress. And he says, I would die before sharing you. How could I ask you to do the same?
Exactly.
Thank you. We got there. So after their great declaration, he's like, you should take a bath. And she takes this as like a self-conscious jab, being like, I've been in jail dirty, nasty for the last how many days?
To be fair, though, she was like sleeping. She's like, I did have to sleep on the ground. So I do actually kind of need a bath.
But he is like, no, I just want to get you undressed. He's like, I'm very much wanting you to get undressed.
I would like to be the person giving you a bath.
Yes. So she's a little scandalized. And then she's like, Okay, well, I guess you can come in with me. And then he's like, it comes clear that he's going to take the bath with her.
Mm-hmm.
So he like plans on getting in the bath with her, but then he starts like washing her hair and like takes care of her in the bath instead of like being in the
Yeah.
bath and making it sexual. And he's like, this is way too much fun. And I'm like, oh, you get a play servant for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm
See
like,
how it
okay,
feels.
Benedict.
See how it feels,
Um,
Benedict.
And he mentions that her hair used to be longer, and she tells him that she cut it and sold it to a wig maker for money.
Yeah.
And this shakes him a little bit. And I think it's good to remind us how different their fucking lives
Right,
were.
bro. Come on.
Like, this is a cute little Cinderella story, but do you understand what she had to go through to survive?
The shoe clips were paste. She didn't even really get money for those. And then she had to Anne Hathaway and Les Mis cut off and sell her hair. We should all be thankful she has all of her teeth.
Yes, and she did not go to sex work, but Lord, I mean, like, I wouldn't have blamed her if she did,
Yeah.
you know? So after drying her off, they both agree that they do not want to wait for their wedding night. And he takes her to bed and says to her, in my heart, you are my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she gives this line that I don't really love, but I guess it's romantic because she's like, you are the reason I exist, the very reason I was born. And
I was like,
okay, not my favorite. They then have very vanilla sex that was kind of closed door, whatever. They fall asleep and she wakes up and it's like 3 a.m.
Fully 3 a.m. She was like, we're supposed to be at your mom's house at like what, 7 p.m.?
Yeah, like something like 9 p.m. or something. And it's like,
what the fuck time is it? It's 3 a.m.
And he's like, chill out. We're getting married next week. And she's like, next week? He was like, we'll get a special license. It's no big deal. Everybody does it nowadays.
He was also like, next week is literally 3 days from now on Monday. So she's like, oh.
And she has this
okay.
I think it's so funny that Julia Quinn was like, you know what we should make this moment about? Lady Whistledown. And the fact that now Sophie's excited that she will possibly be written about in Lady Whistledown.
She's so excited.
And he's like, technically you were written in Lady Whistledown before. After the ball, you were written about because I spent so much time with you. And they do a deep dive into this conversation. And he's like, the reason I wouldn't give my heart over to you completely was because I was holding out for the woman in silver. And she's very touched by this, but like dives into why she chose to hold it from him and blah, blah, blah. And like,
would I do this again? Maybe,
probably actually. But he's like, it doesn't matter now. All the craziness is done. We are in love.
Mm-hmm. We are getting married in 3 days.
So that is the end technically. And then we're going to go into 2 epilogues really quick.
Yes.
The first epilogue, we jump into the future and they have 3 children and they've been together for 7 years now. They have 3 children. They're celebrating Violet's birthday. And she reveals to him that they are pregnant with their 4th child. And
hoping for a girl.
Yeah, he really hopes for a girl because they've had 3 boys. And he really wants to name their child, Violet after their mom.
Yeah.
And Benedict really wants to keep the pregnancy a secret because Lady Whistledown has found out every fucking time and announced their pregnancy.
And at this point, we just don't know how that's possible.
No. And so, Sophie also, but in case you were wondering, has been mentioned 233 times in Whistledown since
she's been counting.
And she's so tickled about it. She's like, I can't wait to be written about again. Like, this is so fun.
And don't worry, she will be.
And then the scene skips over to a mysterious person picking up a quill and writing, gentle reader, this author has learned that the Bridgerton grandchildren will soon be number 11. But this individual puts down her quill and decides she wants something new for herself. Mm-hmm. Pan out the window, closing, scene. Mm-hmm. And we lead into obviously Penelope and
mystery. Who could that possibly be? Wink, wink. Except we know.
What I really care about is the second,
the
epilogue.
PPS of this letter.
Yes. Which
you want to talk about a whirlwind when you know fucking romance.
Yes. So extended epilogue. Julia Quinn wrote essentially an epilogue book for the Bridgertons of like them way in the future or like different parts of their future.
Mm-hmm.
So this is set when Posey is 25 years old. Benedict and Sophie have only had 2 of their children at this point.
Yes.
And Sophie sets Posey up with her county vicar.
Yeah, he's new in town.
And it is love at first sight.
It is not very vicarly behavior, like immediately.
Look, I would argue otherwise. Love and sex are beautiful things. Even vicars should be allowed to have love.
Yeah, basically they see each other. They like can't even really talk to each other because they're so immediately attracted to each other. They go for a walk. Sophie and Benedict are watching them out the window, and then they are immediately kissing, and then they're like waiting to see if they go to the ground to determine if Benedict needs to go out there and stop them.
Yeah, and he's like, at one point, Benedict is like, I know we don't have a daughter yet, but I could like start acting overprotective now.
I see myself as a really overprotective and toxic dad.
Yeah, and I'm a little like, Benedict, you have so many younger sisters you could do that to, and you didn't.
Yeah,
So, but anyway, so then Posey gets married and immediately starts popping out babies.
9 months later, I'm not convinced they didn't do it that day. Because
Yeah,
it
I'm
was
not
getting
either.
hot. It was getting hot and heavy outside.
And she names one of the children Sophie and one of the children Benedict. And then they have a couple other kids. And she does name one of her babies after her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And Sophie, when this happens, because Sophie's at all of these births, is like,
yeah, all like 500.
why?
They pop out so many fucking kids. I just want you to know
so
that
many kids.
they've been going to town.
They've been very
like annually
carnal.
one child every almost 9 months.
Yes. And it's like, get off of her.
Stop. They're going to fall out.
Girl.
Damn.
But Sophie is like, why would you name one of your kids after your mom? And it's very sweet, I think, because Posey is like, internally, Posey explains, you know, my mom, there wasn't, what's her name?
Araminta.
Araminta, thank you. I can never say it.
Well, in like
Araminta.
1 second, we can call her the nickname, and I've been wanting to call her the nickname this whole time.
Yeah, I know, Minty.
So
she is like, well, there was an Araminta in this world who would always frown, and this baby is so happy. I want to have an Araminta in this world who's happy.
In spite of our shitty mom.
Yeah, and I was like, that's beautiful. And she goes by the nickname Minty.
And she goes by the nickname Minty, which is very funny. I've been wanting to call Araminta Minty just because it's easier and more fun to say, but she simply doesn't deserve that nickname, so I did hold on until we got to this part.
So that is our book. I love Posey. I wish Posey got her own book. I was like,
she
Posey
deserves
it. But I will be interested to see how, because it's so eventful. This second half is so eventful, how they play this out in the show. I'm excited to see, especially the relationship between Mama B and Sophie.
Yeah. I'm excited to not watch Colin be a dick to Penelope because in the show they're already married. So I don't have to, for the 500th time, watch her get really embarrassed by her future husband and then pretend like she's not.
I am curious if they will keep the scene where she is in the nursery and has, you know, that's how it comes out, you know, because they've played up this whole necklace thing. Correct. That we've talked about of like him being almost recognizing her because she's wearing the necklace the night he has the fever. And then like he's included the necklace in his paintings or his drawings and like anyway,
for what
that'll
it's
be
worth,
interesting.
Unless they really finesse that in an awesome way, I like the reveal in the book better.
I do too. I
think it's funny and ridiculous. Not like in the way it was done, but in the fact that it takes Benedict seeing her fucking blindfolded.
Yes. And I hope that it is like planned out by everybody else to get them together and be like, you fucking idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. We will most certainly get, I guess, thankful to the show because I assume they will condense 2 of the exact same conversations that Mama Bridgerton has with Benedict into one heartfelt conversation with Benedict about how he can marry a maid if he wants to.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a little repetitive. I get it, not having both of them in the show, but I don't know.
I mean, if you'd had it in the beginning where it is in the book, it would, as I have been like annoyed by reading the book, it solves the problem. Like the book shouldn't have its problem because Mama Bridgerton has already come in to say it's okay. And so I'm actually kind of glad that we haven't had this conversation in the show. One, because I think it does that. It like solves it too early, but also because I don't want to hear it twice. And it kind of makes more sense on the back half.
It does.
As the reveal that helps Benedict stop going on about having mistresses.
And again, I wonder how they will approach, because we just got to the point where he asks to be her to be the mistress. Like, how are we going to approach the idea of her potentially having an illegitimate child and her being resistant to that? Because we haven't heard that dialogue yet. So all around, I am excited for part 2. I've really enjoyed part 1. I think there was an interesting article that came out that was like, is the slow burn killing Bridgerton seasons? And I do think that's kind of true. Like, if you think about it, I guess season 1, it wasn't as crazy of a slow burn because they get together and then the conflict is that, you know, how they're going about having sex and having a child. But I do think, like, we've now had 2 other seasons of kind of slow burns. And even though, sure, I guess you could say Colin and Penelope, they get together, it's still like, I know you have to have conflict. I'm not an idiot. Like, you got to have conflict, but like, I don't know. Who's next? I think Eloise is next.
Yeah.
She's got to be next. We've set it up too well. And if you know anything about Francesca's storyline, you have to let that breathe after the big event happens. So
yes, we are personally of the opinion that they better let her storyline breathe, although I don't know if it's going to go that way.
Yeah, I just think we've now set up Eloise so established over 4 seasons, whereas like Francesca kind of came in last season, like as the, you know, so let Eloise be next, please.
Let her be next.
And with that, we're excited to break down what happens after the show comes out with the second part, and we hope you guys have enjoyed our breakdown in the meantime.
Yes.
And you know, just be considerate of your mistress's feelings,
please.
Stop accusing people. Stop accusing people of theft.
If your mom tells you could love anybody you want, listen to her the first time. Save yourself some trouble.
Yeah. And don't hold out for a fantasy.
Yeah.
Hold out for the real thing, you know?
Yeah, the real thing's right in front of you. Open your eyes.
Stay
or cover
smutty.
their eyes with half of your hands.
Yeah. Like, play a little Marco Polo.
When in doubt, cover their eyes and see how you feel about their mouth.
I can't. This show. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Stay smutty.